Hi, everyone. It's Spehar from the James Beard Foundation here again with another industry support webinar. Today, we'll be exploring the world of TikTok and Instagram Live. We will be enjoying some of these little whipped coffee hipster creations, and I'm
Yes.
interviewing two of my most favorite chefs. So I want to welcome you all today. The style of today is going to be a little bit different than what we've been doing all week. There's not a formal presentation, although Monty has been kind enough to lay out pages upon pages of the different types of equipment that you might need and the best ways to use it and what she uses. So we'll be sending that out to y'all later. So we want you to just sort of like chill, enjoy, take it in as a peer-led discussion, not in lieu of hiring your own social media manager or agent or setting up your own brand, just really a conversation between folks who are doing really well in the space and you, and hopefully we can break it down and lose a little bit of the fog around what is a TikTok, why is an Instagram Live, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to hand it over to Emily now, who is going to talk you through how you can interact with us during this webinar.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. So a little bit about how this is going to work today. We are recording it. We will send out a link to register to watch the recording after this wraps. So even if you come in late, you'll get a recording to that. No worries. And we'll also send out any other resources or notes that come up throughout the webinar. We know that there are a ton of questions around this topic, so feel free to just send them in using the questions function on the control panel as you think of them, and then we'll try to get to them at the end. We're going to try to answer everybody's questions, but if there's something that we missed, we'll do our best to follow up after with some answers to that. If you're having any kind of technical difficulties, you can't see, you can't hear, your question isn't coming through, send us a note either using the chat function or the questions function. They should be nesting right underneath each other on the control panel. Should be all set.
Thanks, Emily. And we did get a lot of your questions ahead of time, so we've got those curated into the discussion we're going to have right now. If something comes up as they're going along that requires a little more clarification, I'll probably interrupt them, but if not, we'll hold questions to the end and make sure that y'all leave here, like next step influencers. So first up, I want to introduce Chef Monti Carlo, the co-founder of Everything Food, television personality, general good human, dangerous mom. Monti, tell us a little bit about your journey in food, how you got to where you are now.
Well, before I get started with all that nonsense, because it is nonsense, I just want to just say hi to everybody that's joined, and I'm so thankful that you're here. And I know that a lot of you are going through financial hardships and hard times, and I just want you to know that we're going to get through this together, thanks to people like me at the James Beard Foundation who hooks us up with ways to, hustle, which is what this whole thing is about. I think for myself and Matt, we've hustled our way to where we are right now. So I got started on a reality show, actually called Master Chef, and I only went on that show. I had no recipes mastered at the time that I auditioned for Master Chef. I auditioned because I thought they were going to give me a $50 day rate for I was broke. I was
That's not bad.
And I was like, they're going to give me $50 if I make it on camera. That's what I was told. I was wrong, and I had no business being there, but I kept making the producers laugh, and they let me compete. And then I didn't realize that it was for money. So, and I was like, oh, I'll be able to get my son and I out of a pretty bad situation. So I taught myself how to cook, and that's where I got started about 10 years ago. And that led to food TV, food network shows, and cooking channel. And now I co-founded a company called Everything Food, which I'm pretty stoked about. So that's been the journey so far.
Look at that glow up, Monti Carlo. I remember you from MasterChef, and you were very funny and endearing, and I think that sticks with people, and that's a lot about what we're going to be talking about today too, is so many chefs, regardless of their level of talent or experience or where they've cooked, have a feeling that like maybe they won't be the one, maybe they're not ready yet, maybe they haven't done this stage, or they haven't worked for that restaurant, or they haven't made this dish, and it really it just doesn't matter. It matters if you're compelling, interesting, and authentic, and that's what we're going to get into here. And if you're
Yeah.
doing the right thing, that's your passion, it'll hopefully work out for you. Similar story, my friend Matt over here, who we were seated together at an Audi proof dinner and have maintained a friendship since then. Matt is a chef out of Seattle. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, I mean, first off, thanks for having me. And just like everyone out here that's probably watching, I started out in kitchens. So, I mean, since I was like 16 in restaurants, in high school, working my way through, and then I thought this might be the right thing to do. So straight out of there, went to culinary school and ended up floating around different restaurants in Texas, and then came to Seattle. So I'd say for the past 6, 7 years, working for Tom Douglas, worked at all of his restaurants. And on the side, I've just been, like Monty said, we've been hustling our way through. So I've just been, making videos and creating as much content as I can. I'm not a camera person, so just like in the kitchen, you got to ask questions. So every time I worked with a camera person, I'd ask so many questions, take notes, all that stuff. So hopefully we can spread that knowledge today with y'all.
Great. And I bring up that me and Matt met just at a dinner because it is so important to be aware of like who's around you and who you're talking to, and just strike up genuine and authentic relationships with folks, because you never know how that'll turn out down the line. And if there's ways that you can work together, just straight up asking, hey, I think you're cool and I'd like to work with you, seems to be the best way to get these jobs, right? So I'm going to kick it over to Monty to talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about two platforms today primarily because we just had the Facebook session last week, and you can watch that on record. So we're going to talk about Instagram Live, and we're going to talk about TikTok. Those are the two sort of biggest platforms right now for chefs. And I'm going to have Monty kick it off talking about Instagram and Instagram Live. You've built a huge following online for your cooking videos and general cool stuff you're doing there. Tell me a little bit about the Instagram platform and about going live.
I mean, the Instagram platform for me is kind of where it's at. TikTok is a brave new world for me, but Instagram is where a lot of businesses go to market their products. And so it's easy for you to get discovered there by companies and get approached. They slip into my DMs and they ask me to shoot with them and do work for them. So that's it's a place where you can really develop your brand and your voice. And that's the most important thing, more than anything else, is to develop a snapshot of what you bring to the table. So like a lot of people are like, put yourself on the plate, you got to put yourself on the page.
And would you say it's wise for folks to have like their own personal Instagram and then one for business, or when you want to be a culinary media personality, it's all kind of public?
Everything's public. So I think you definitely have to be careful about what you share. I don't recommend splitting the audience. This is something I learned when I was doing comedy 100 years ago and radio 100 years ago, because I'm 458 years old.
Yes.
I look
Looking good. Coming to us live from LA, if you couldn't tell. That's
but like you have to, you can't split the audience. So steer away from, being too political or anything that you think could be divisive or could turn viewers off. You got to win the middle of the country. So if it isn't going to work in the Midwest, then bigger brands probably won't want to work with you because they're also not going to split their audience. Did I answer your question? I'm very
You did, yeah. So splitting the audience, yeah. We don't want to have, if you choose to be a culinary media personality, you are going to have to accept that comes with a certain giving up of your own personal space. And if you're going after brand contracts like Morton Salt or any number of these big brands, they're going to be looking also for this to apply to Indiana as much as they are LA or New York.
Yeah, you got to watch everything you say online, because people can, and they do research you. They run background checks on you that are super thorough. And anything that you put up could come back to haunt you, and you could lose money. And that's the point of this game, So I do recommend having one page and sharing your life with people and being authentic in that way, but definitely not crossing any crazy pant lines.
Speaking of crazy pant lines, we've had a few questions about buying followers or things like that. What do you think about that?
It is not a good idea at all. You shouldn't do it. there are companies out there that their whole purpose is to figure out how authentic your engagement is and how authentic your audience is. So anytime that I'm working with somebody, my management runs reports on people to make sure that I'm working with somebody that's authentic and isn't, like someone that's bought all their followers or buys likes. And
Mm,
it's interesting. I mean, nowadays you can actually get sued. If
yeah.
you accept money from somebody and say, yeah, this is who I am, and these are all authentic followers, and these are authentic likes, and this is an authentic engagement rate. Here's my signature on this piece of paper saying that I promise everything is super real. And they run a report on you, even if it's a year later. They can tell to the day, to the minute almost, when those followers were bought.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and like what country they came from. So you'll have something that says, 50% from the United States and then, 45% from Bangladesh. And it's like, are you really
Maybe
that big
not.
in Bangladesh? It's like,
Maybe not. Yeah,
it's not everywhere.
sounds like it runs the gamut of, if you were trying to fill your page with fake Yelp reviews or something, it's eventually going to get caught out and it's just going to look bad. It's not great.
Well, you also have to be careful who you hire to do your PR work for you and to help with your social media, because a lot of these people, I'm not going to say a lot, but some of them aren't scrupulous, or and they'll just buy followers because they get a
Yeah,
percentage. So you have
right.
to be careful.
Absolutely. So when you're doing a live, I've seen you do it where you get a split screen and you're presenting, let's say you're cooking or you're interviewing with somebody on Instagram. Can you tell me a little bit about that process? That process feels a little bit daunting to some folks.
Man, it's so easy. It
Okay,
really is.
walk me
If
through
I
it.
can do it, I can do it. You can do it. I'm a child of the 70s. I was stumped by the solar calculator. So I feel like if I can do it, it's pretty easy. You just go live right on your Instagram account, and then you can invite people that are commenting. You can just click on their little face, and you can invite them to go live with you, or they can invite themselves and ask you. And you have to make sure that you're careful how you set up your shot and
Hmm.
your framing, so you don't end up with this situation where you're like, hey everybody. That's not good. So besides that, it's really great, and it's a wonderful way to talk to your audience and to talk to people that you admire, or I just got to talk to a wonderful nutritionist. Her name is Masha Davis, and we talked for like 40 minutes on Instagram Live just about ways to boost your immunity. So like that was an awesome time.
And is there a time limit for how long you can go live?
That I don't know. What I do know is that you can download the video after you go live, but not if you go live for over 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you're going live for over 10 minutes, the best way to keep that video and put it in your phone is to grab a screen grabbing program and then just record it, and then edit it and crop it, and then you can use it on all your platforms.
What
And
do you think go ahead, sorry.
if you have a verified account, you can post up to 60 minutes on Instagram TV, which is a great way to like recycle that material. If you're not
Mm.
verified, then you have to do it in 10-minute increments, which is why there's two big pictures of my face on my top row of my Instagram grid, because that's actually my interview with Masha Davis, and we talked for a long time.
Yes. Is there any time that you are aware of that you think folks are most engaged? Like if somebody wanted to do, a little talk on sourdough starters, that's very popular right now.
Yeah,
How
it is.
long do you think that folks should anticipate to do an Instagram live? Like what's the attention span?
I mean, you're going to have people webbing in and out, coming in and out, so you want to know what your message is, and you want to be able to spill that message in a 7-second increment. So, like, for example, when I was talking to Masha, I'm like, we're talking to a nutritionist about how to boost your immunity. That's a 5-second spiel. For those of you that are, here, just joined, that way you're continuously letting people know that are just joining what's going on, because they don't know, right? And then you just repeat the message. So you can go as long as you want, but you're kind of talking in circles because people are coming in and out of it, the whole time.
Yeah, considering
You
it is a drive-by.
have to be engaging,
Yeah, that's good advice though, to keep talking about what it is that you're doing so that folks, if they're missing the steps or if it's something that's going a little bit longer, they can get caught up on. Um, How often do you post on Instagram? Like, what do you think the cadence should be when you're trying to build an audience?
Well, it's all about, I mean, this is such a like a divided nation when it comes to how often you should post on Instagram. Some people are like every day, but for me,
Yeah.
it's quality over quantity.
Hmm.
You want to be engaging always. You want people to know that when they go to your page, that they're always going to find something either goofy or informative or whatever your brand is. So I post maybe every other day or every 3 days.
Hmm.
It just depends if I have something good to say or important to say or something that I think is hilarious, like Danger and I, my kiddo and I, dancing.
Yes, those are fun. Matt, on the topic of Instagram, but jumping to you for a second, what do you think is the cadence for posting? Because you do a lot of content for a company in particular. So
Right.
how do you pepper in like your
I
sponsored
mean,
content with your own personal?
like you're saying, Monty, I used to post just like every day and be strict about that, but now it just I don't think it matters, like I used to be like all about the grid looking nice. I don't think any of that matters really. Like as
Yeah.
long as you're just putting yourself out there, like me, I just gotta keep cooking and putting myself out there. Um, shoot, I mean quality matters, but quality is just it's subjective. Like you
Yeah.
could post something that you think is shit and that's just it could be shit, but you're posting, right? Like say for example, if you scroll down on my page here, like it's not all the same. It's like I'm trying to post quality, but at the same time, I'm just trying to keep myself out there. Like I'm just keep
Yeah.
posting like this right here, this little coffee thing that I'm pouring, like that's not a quality post. It's just me going with this little trend. I'm putting myself out there.
Right.
I thought of it and I was like, wow, this looks like a crappy video, but I still put it up. Just as long as you're getting stuff up, that's all that really matters, I think.
Yeah, I watched you do a
Um,
very compelling chopping an onion video one time. I have actually watched it a few times.
yeah, yeah. Like also that's another challenge for me is like trying to figure out what kind of content to post since I'm like there's chefs that follow me and then there's just like home cooks and then there's just people that don't know anything about cooking. So it's like sometimes I get questions on like how do you cut an onion and that just throws me off. I didn't think
Yeah.
of having to make a video about that. So I mean,
There's something very soothing about the onion video too, though. So it's a little bit of both.
yeah, I mean, I felt kind of stupid making it, but it's doing really good on my channel right now. So there's that.
But it's food porn. A lot of it is
Right.
food porn. And we're
Yeah,
back to
really is.
being a baby. Like when people are viewing all these food videos, it's not about them making these recipes necessarily.
Yeah,
It's about getting transported to a place where coronavirus doesn't exist. And you can watch somebody make something beautiful and be transported to a time in your life when people were making beautiful things for you.
Yeah, that's a really excellent point. And as people are sort of building their following and posting a lot, it was a thought at one time that, adding a million hashtags might catch a lot more attention, or I've seen people do like dot 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 and move all their hashtags down or put them in a comment to hide them. What's your advice on hashtags? How many is too many? Does it really make a difference? Is it good to have your own proprietary one?
I mean, Matt, or do you want?
I mean, I guess I could just scroll over to what I have here. This is my notes on my phone.
Hmm.
I just have hashtags for like every situation saved, and I'll just copy it, paste it, change it up every now and then. I feel like it helps you to grow your audience. Like, you're just widening your reach.
Hmm.
I don't know about the amount of hashtags. I think that used to matter. Like there used to be like
Yeah.
a time where people would say like only do 6 or only do 5 or 30 is fine. Or I really don't know about the number. I can't really say. As
But it
long as you're
doesn't
not
matter.
like spamming that hashtag, like say I post a picture of an egg and I put like hashtag table, or for
Yeah.
example, I saw someone posting like a picture of a dessert and they're putting like barbecue and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is not barbecue. Like if you're
Yeah.
spamming, I think maybe the app will tell because now the app is smart enough to be able to tell what the picture is. Like it's kind
Right.
of creepy. Like the friggin' app will know like this is a picture of a donut. So if you're posting a donut and putting like a different word in the description, it'll like probably demote your post and people won't see it. And yeah, you'll just get buried. So
Just goes back to being authentic, right? Like if the hashtags
yeah,
make sense, if they're things you like to follow and it is topical to what you're cooking, then add it. But just adding popular ones, maybe not so much. Probably would affect your authenticity online.
hmm yeah.
Just a
So
note
good.
on hashtags. I
Yes.
don't think you should, from the research that I've done, you shouldn't go for these hashtags that have, 40 million,
Yeah.
tag. I mean, it's because you're going to get
Right.
buried. So I think the
Mm.
sweet spot is about 100 to 150,000. So if you
Okay.
can find hashtags that match your content that are pertinent to what you're posting that are in that sweet spot, you're really going to be able to do more for yourself, discovery wise, if you're trying to build your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to come back and talk about Instagram in a minute, but I do want to get to the mystery that is TikTok, and that we are all still figuring out. And even in this moment, Matt has thousands of followers. Monty is aware of TikTok, and everybody is using it. You're seeing a ton of it, especially as people are quarantined. I did a little bit of research on TikTok and was surprised to find out that they have 800 million users. Most of their audience, 41%, is 16 to 24 years old. And people spend about 52 minutes per day on the app, but 90% use it more than once a day. So that's pretty engaging audience for this particular platform.
Well,
And
you're aware
Matt,
it used to be Musically, right?
it was Musically before,
Yeah.
right? So Matt, how are you seeing, it sort of started off with like dance crazes, it seems like, and the kid stuff, but how are you seeing brands take TikTok more seriously for chef content or sponsored content now?
Honestly, I don't know about brands, but I do know chefs are starting to take it really seriously. There's a really big audience to reach on there.
Mhm.
So I feel like right now we need to take advantage of it. But as far as reach, though, it's a total mystery to me. I'm just sort of finding out as I go. I'm starting to find out like posting later on in the day is a good way to go. Morning time, maybe not so much. I don't know if that's just my crowd.
Mhm.
Of course, as you see here, all the videos are short. You have to keep it under a minute, which
Mhm.
is another challenging one. I
I
have to
bet.
post one today on a Japanese milk bread I made yesterday, and I
Yum.
showed Monty the video.
Yeah.
It's just challenging to make like a bread video in under a minute. Just like so many cuts. You're like cutting out all the important stuff, but I realize like the important stuff doesn't matter on this app. So
It's more
um,
about just like flash getting
also
through
it's
it.
about, yeah, flash, it's about the hook. So like those first like 3 seconds, maybe 2 seconds, it has to be like really compelling. So you got to get the hook in the beginning. Like I usually will like throw the food in the air and like catch it and then edit it to where it looks like it's falling in my hands, so like it'll catch them right in the beginning. Just try to find your hook on this thing, and I think you'll be successful. Like most of these videos, as you can see, don't have like as many views as the first ones I was posting. But I know it's just a
Still
mystery to
working.
me right now.
You're
Still
still
figuring.
working it through.
Yeah,
But so with TikTok, are you different than Instagram, right? Stories or lives. You're not necessarily doing them live. They are videos you're creating, editing, and then posting on TikTok.
right.
What's that
Exactly.
process a little bit more like?
Uh, just like all my videos, I'm just gonna film it on my camera, but instead of like filming it like this, I'll turn my camera this way, and then I'll
Okay.
just edit it in a 900 by 1600 format, which just means like a portrait format for you guys that use your phone.
Because they have to be
But
portrait,
also I mean, they don't, but
but it looks
it's
better.
not gonna look, yeah, people are gonna watch it if you're posting just like a landscape video and it's just like huge black bars in between. No one's gonna watch that. I mean,
Good.
especially the audience, it's kids, they're gonna think it looks lame. And also the comments are a lot worse on TikTok, Monty.
The
Just
comments
so you know.
are okay. So have a
It's
thick
because they're
skin
they're
for
kids.
TikTok.
They're brutal. They're brutal. They don't know how to cook or anything. They'll go at you. It's crazy.
I guess it's a good place to toughen up the TikTok and have maybe
Yeah,
something fun and viral. Are there
I've never
apps
had.
that you can use that help you work on TikTok? Like, or is it something that the music and everything is added just through the app, or is that
Um,
something you're doing outside?
I just edit all my stuff on Final Cut Pro on my
Final Cut Pro.
computer. A lot of people that are successful, they just do it straight on their phone. Yeah.
And how is building a following on TikTok different than building one on Instagram?
It feels a lot like Instagram right now. Like back in the days, Instagram was really hot and easy to grow on. So it feels kind of the same. Like you use hashtags, post beautiful content, and cream always rises to the top. So if you're
Hmm.
posting beautiful content as well, that'll do
I love
well.
that Prince song.
Hmm. But a
The
lot,
what?
a lot of room,
Yeah.
a lot of room.
Another cool thing is you can go live if you have, I think, like over 1,000 followers. I'm not sure, 20,000, but
Okay.
like when I go live, I can post a title on the live. So like Monty was saying before, how she had to say like every 7 seconds what the video is about. You don't have to do that on TikTok because you can post a title and description of what it's about. So
Cool.
people will see that and they'll click it. And there's no need for explanation, which is pretty cool. And also you can get paid through TikTok as well.
Talk to me about that, Matt. How do we get paid through TikTok?
Well, on the app, if you go live, people can actually send you money, just kind of like where are these streaming services? Twitch.
Like Venmo or anything? Okay,
Hmm. Just like Twitch.
great.
Yeah.
Ooh.
One
Hmm.
thing that we've
Pretty neat.
heard of, yeah, I want to get paid on TikTok. One of the things that we've heard about TikTok lately is that the growth, while it started off as an app for younger folks, 16 to 24, the growth sector that's they're seeing most strongly right now, it's 5.5 times more than it's been any other time in its life, is for folks over 25. So I think we're starting to see people migrate over that way, maybe because there's more room to get Insta famous. Now you can get TikTok famous more quickly. You can build following more quickly. It's a different group. You're not competing with verified accounts and all of this.
Yep.
Why, when you are working with a brand and they're hiring you for Instagram or for content for online, what would be a compelling argument to add in TikTok to your contract, let's say?
Just it's getting a lot more eyes. That would be it. But this is just like any other thing, That's why I do everything. You want to get that oceanfront property before it's popular. Like you want to be in Malibu before it's Malibu. That's what
Right.
TikTok was. I mean, I feel like that train has already taken off. I mean, that's why I'm on like different apps right now, like Byte. I don't know if most of y'all heard of Byte, but I'm on that. And I hear LinkedIn is really good right now. They have like 3 million active users, which is not that
Wow.
many.
Yeah.
So that's a good one to get on because also you can post videos on LinkedIn. You just gotta get in before it starts. You just like put yourself out there. Everything, do everything.
Right. And I know we talked a little bit ahead of time about the equipment that you guys are using, right? Because there's folks on the, I can see them here in the attendees list who are very established chefs who probably have the means to get a little bit higher end equipment, or there's going to be an expectation that they're using a little bit more professional produced content because either they're Food Network chefs or they're well known, but now they're in their homes and trying to do something and it needs to look, on brand for them. For the folks that are home, tell us a little bit about your setup. Like I know Monty, you put a lot of effort into what happens in your background, and Matt, you're very good at figuring out the cameras. Will you talk us through, maybe starting with Monty, just a little bit about basic equipment and advanced equipment that folks should be considering to make like professional looking videos?
Well, smartphones are the way to go right now because you can shoot in 4K. And the one thing to remember is, the quality of the resolution is different depending on the camera that you use on your smartphone. So if you're using your front camera or the selfie camera, that's usually going to be like a 1080, which is okay quality, but you can't really zoom in when you're editing. But if you use your back camera,
Your
some
phone like
phones
this.
go up to 4K. Yeah, 4K, 80, 8K. I mean, it's, you got some great phones out there. I work with a Pixel 3 XL, and I mean, I love working on it. I shoot a lot of video on it. It's important if you're just starting out, use your phone and just buy a $20 lavalier mic, plug it into your phone, just because audio is so important. You don't want to sound super echoey and, like you're 100 feet away, which is what happens if you're not on top of your phone. So if you're doing a shot where you're framing your shot and you want the frame to be big enough to where it's you waist up and a counter, your phone has to be pretty far away.
Mm.
So for that to happen, you definitely have to have a mic plugged in. But that's really that, and some lights is what I recommend if you're just starting out. Grab some lights. I'm not in love with bulbs. I love LED. They're a little more expensive, but certainly worth it. They last longer. They travel easy. See if I can show
Yeah,
you guys
show
a
us
little.
what you got. Welcome to my home.
This is, I don't know if you guys can see those lights, but that's really,
Yes.
those are my lights.
Huh.
I have, you know,
That's
my
what I'm using right now.
tripods there. What,
Yeah.
babe?
I'm using those exact ones right now.
Look at
Newer?
that. We'll
Yeah,
get your
newer.
model number on those lights.
Yeah,
I've got
I
them on my
actually,
Amazon store.
yeah, right. Yeah, so it's I have a list that I created that I guess you're going to share with them later, V, but that has everything and links to everything, lights and tripods. But all you really need are 3 good lights. You have to make sure that you know you can research that on YouTube, how to light a room, and a mic and a tripod, and you know your phone, and you can do so much.
Yeah, that
I mean, if
tripod
you
thing is
have
very important, right?
AirPods or headphones like V there, just use your headphones and you can use that as a mic as well. That's what I used to do back in the day. I would take that little mouthpiece part, tape it to my chest, and that's what I would use as my mic.
Boom.
Yeah,
It
you gotta
works.
hustle.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is the things that are important are, at least when you're getting started, you can use your phone, use it front facing, not the selfie way, the other way. You want a tripod because that's important. Balancing on cookbooks is very dangerous. And if you get all the way through your video and it slips or your cat knocks it over, you're going to be
Well,
devastated.
you also have to think about what you're doing. Like if you're chopping anything on a board, on a surface,
Finish it.
that surface is going to vibrate. So your footage is going to be shaky and blurry, and you don't want that. So you definitely want to have a tripod set off of your surface, you know, and if you've got an old phone, you can convert that into a second shot. So you can get that,
Mm.
you know, you can get an overhead shot of what you're doing, and then also
You
get
can.
yeah, a waist up shot as well. I used to
And
speak really awesome, and then I joined this webinar.
you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. We're all doing our best here.
Right.
So tell me a little bit then about, Matt, I know you have when you're not, so lavalier mic must have lights, ideal to
Yeah.
have.
Another thing you gotta have
Tripod,
is the
gotta
story.
have.
You gotta have good storytelling.
Good
Um,
storytelling. Do you
Something
suggest writing
interesting I'm
scripts?
seeing. No,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no, because it seems so inauthentic.
I know,
And
I'm not scripts for what you're going to say, but you should definitely map out what you're
have an
doing.
idea.
Storyboard.
Yes.
You got to
Have an
do a shot
idea.
list.
Don't read from a script. Have an idea of where you're going. Yeah, like write down, I guess, what you're going to talk about. But I love the way. I mean, I don't know if you know Chris Constantino
Yes.
and Brad Kilgore. I'm seeing those guys that have no experience with the video, but they're great at what they do. So if you watch like their Insta lives right now, all it is they're just taking their phone or having like their girlfriend or wife just point and shoot at what they're doing. So honestly, it's just about the story and it'll be compelling. If you have like all the right equipment and your story sucks, then there's no point.
Not gonna matter.
So you have to have the story. That's what you have to have as well. Number 3.
And when you are getting into wanting to do more advanced either camera tricks or filming, what kind of cameras do you guys use right now that aren't
I
a
use
phone? What would you
a
recommend?
Canon. I use a Canon DSLR. It's a 70D, and I have 2 of them that I use for like my pro shoots that I'm doing for clients or for everything food. I set up 2 different shots with them, and they have then I have a Sennheiser mic that I plug into that as well.
Fancy.
So that's a wireless lav. It's
Damn.
omnidirectional. So
Fancy. LA in the
It
house.
is. Yeah.
Hollywood.
but you know, when you're developing something for a client, it's something that it's not just for fun, for my
Yeah.
social media pages. It's something that, you know, they're going to use in all sorts of different platforms. So it has to have that feel to it, that little glossy feel to it that a DSLR can provide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a couple of questions here about when you're doing like a brand takeover on Instagram, more likely than anywhere else. How are you how do you get those contracts? Like, are people just calling you up and saying, hey, I saw you on Instagram and I want you to do something? Or are you going out and soliciting those? Are you coming to them and saying, hey, I'd love to do a brand takeover. This is what I would do. Like, what's your pitching advice for folks who want to build?
I've always been approached. So I wish that I was a little more of a go-getter about approaching people, but I can be a little shy about that. So I've always been approached. Like I'm doing an Instagram takeover for CCAP
Hmm.
in about a week, which I'm super stoked about. And they approached me. So it's all about building relationships, you know?
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
that's all
I'm
it's really.
curious, was that after the MasterChef thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, before MasterChef, I legit like you have to understand. I went to MasterChef because I was facing homelessness with my
Right.
kid. You know, so like at that point
Yeah.
in my life, the only way that I had of feeding my son was to win. As stupid as it sounds and as nuts as it is, was to win a competition show on TV. And so that's what I
Yeah.
was
Right.
trying to do. You know, I didn't win, but it gave me the experience that I needed, and I had no idea of the reach that that show had.
Oh yeah.
So that helped a lot with building an audience. But you also have to do a ton of work on your own. I mean, I worked in kitchens across LA for quite a few years. I started a catering company. I started teaching people how to cook, and
Hmm.
I hustled. Like my very first gig making videos was something that I auditioned for. I auditioned to be a host for an honest company baby food
Mm.
series. And then when I was talking to the director, because you know, being a food person, I'm like, so what baby food are we going to be making? And he's like, well, I don't know yet because we haven't written anything. And I was like, oh well, I'll write it for you. You know, like you gotta like
You just got to say
figure out a
yes.
way to get in there, you
Hmm.
know, and you know, I didn't get paid extra to write them,
Mm.
but I got that experience in writing a script and in developing those recipes for Jessica Alba's Honest Company. So that it looks great on your resume, and it helps people think, oh well, if she did it for them, then she can do it for us, you know?
Yeah. And we hear a lot of folks who are like, I want to be a Food Network star, I want to be on Cooking Channel, I want to be food media famous. Um, what are sort of the dangers of going that route? Sure, it will help you build an Instagram maybe right away for folks who are getting started out there. But it costs you a lot if you want to do that. I mean, like surely you can try out for any of the shows, and we suggest that everybody does if that's the route that makes sense for them. We've seen obviously tons of incredible chefs come through MasterChef or Top Chef, etc. And sometimes to your point, Monty, it doesn't matter if you win or not because I remember you from your season, but I don't really remember anyone else. And I apologize to anyone else I'm supposed to remember, but you know,
I
it was
love
10 years ago. So, you know, you find those people that you absolutely love who come into your kitchen in this particular way, and that is one way to build a business. But talk to us a little bit about, like, you know, the folks who are out there trying to build a culinary media brand on Instagram that's personal to them, that will become their job. What are some of the sort of dangers of doing that?
the danger of trying to become a Food Network person.
Well, like trying to putting your whole life out there on Instagram or TikTok as a chef and making that your career. Like, what are you giving up
I mean, you know,
personally?
you have to realize that shows don't come every week, right? I mean,
Right.
you know, you're going to audition for a lot of stuff if you have a good agent or manager that can get your name out there. If you've got a good following and a good engagement rate and it's legit, people will come to you. I was approached by Food Network. I was I was working at 3 restaurants, okay? I mean, I was cooking at 2 and waiting tables at another. And my shoe size was like changed by 2 sizes. I was working so much when I got the call from my agent that Food Network wanted to audition me, you know, so I thought he was joking, but it was you know, so when you get that shot, you obviously have to do your best, you know, like you just try to hit that home run, period. But you're not going to get that shot more than a few times a year tops, you know, so you definitely have to develop another way of making ends meet. You can't just think that, you know, food TV is going to make ends meet. The money isn't that great, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
What's great about it is the exposure, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's great about it. So you have to have something else, you know, so that's part of the reason I co-founded everythingfood.com, because we want to legitimately change the world of food. We want to bring transparency to food, and we are doing that through online grocery shopping. So I'm very excited to be a part of that. That pays my bills, you know,
Yeah.
shows that I do for Cooking
Nice.
Channel, Food Network, things of that sort. Those are fun, and I love the people that I work with, but that doesn't that's like fun money.
Can't be your end goal. Can't be your end
No,
goal. You have
no,
to have a greater
it's
mission.
I mean, if your whole end goal is to judge people's food on food TV, God bless you, but you can go bigger. You can do more,
You
you can
can.
totally do more. And especially this day and age with the way our food system is, it's so upside down in this country that we need people that have those skills, to go out there and spread that message and let everyday people know that it's awesome to be in your kitchen. This is a great opportunity right now where people are, stuck at home. Everyone is curious about things that they can make. So use this opportunity to show who you are and to show your skill set and to inspire people so they know that it's not drudgery. It's not
Right.
drudgery being in a kitchen. It's awesome. And you
Right.
can make chocolate stuff.
You can make chocolate. Matt, I know that you did a lot of this while you were at Tom Douglas and continue to pop up in kitchens all over cooking for content and then actually just being the chef at the restaurant. What is that
Oh,
like?
not chef though. I
Cook.
work at all of them. Yeah,
Cook at the restaurant. So, what does that do for employee morale, let's say, like when you're working, there are a lot of restaurants out there that are either shut down or closed right now, and they're trying to keep their employees and their staff engaged. And maybe Instagram or having them do a TikTok for their brand or something or for their restaurant could be interesting. Like, what would your advice be? And how does that make an employee feel really when they get included in that front-facing brand?
It definitely boosts morale. It keeps everyone inspired. I mean, if that were just to stop today, there would be no more inspiration. We got to keep pushing this out, keep putting out content, keep inspiring all the chefs out there that, this is still here and we're all going to make it through this.
Yeah.
So yeah, got to keep inspiring.
Any other audience that hustles as much as like, okay? We're all a bunch of boring hustlers, man. We're going to get through it for sure.
It's the hustle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you think in doing so let's say if folks are going to go out and say, like, what would be a good tip or a good conversation starter for restaurant owners right now who want to call up their sous chef that's been furloughed or that they're just doing takeout right now or it's changed and say like, hey, I want you to be a part of our restaurant's Instagram and do a brand takeover or do a Instagram takeover. What would be a good way to get that process started for someone? Like, what should they ask for?
Like, what should they ask the chef?
Yeah, what should they ask the chef to do, or what would be like, an easy thing to explain it to someone? Like if I'm, I don't know, Chowhan Ale House or something, right? And Manit's going to come to me and say, hey, I know you're not working right now. I'd like you to do an Instagram takeover. What parameters could a restaurant owner give to that staff member that would protect their brand and still be fun?
I mean, I guess if they want to do that, they would just have to have complete control. So they would need to produce the content themselves with that chef. It wouldn't be the chef's responsibility to produce the content. They would just be the person making whatever it is, and whoever's in charge would, I guess, film it, just so they have complete control. I'm not sure if I understood that.
No,
question.
I just mean like if they're home, like what's an easy thing to ask a chef to make? So like if you're home, your chefs are home right now, and you want to say, hey, we're going to have Matt do a takeover today. Do we say
Gotcha.
do an
Okay, like a
Instagram
live
live? Do a post? Like what would that look like for them?
Simple. I'd say something simple is always best, like a pasta with like a pesto that you throw into the pan, toss the pasta in that, presto, done. Like nothing that's overcomplicated because you're going to lose the audience, and also it's hard to kind of keep talking to people while doing many things. So I mean, unless you're just like amazing, like Monti over here, just keep it simple. Just simple dish. That's it. That's what I would say.
Bright colors, film it on your
Simple
phone.
are great, but if you have that skill set where you can create something beautiful, like if you're a chocolatier, it's just mesmerizing I'm obviously obsessed with chocolate and so hungry because I haven't had breakfast yet. But watching somebody make a beautiful chocolate is mesmerizing, and I think you really have to think about the strengths. Like what are your strengths, and your audience is the most important thing. That's where you start. That's step one, is who is your audience. So you need to go into your analytics and see who are the people that are watching your content. What is their life like? What kind of content do they react to? And what kind of content do they ignore? And you start from there. And that's what I meant when I was talking about writing a script, is you really have to like figure out the framework of what you're creating before recipes even come into play.
Yeah, fantastic. We have a couple questions from the audience viewing. Everyone is loving you, by the way. We have big love from even Buenos Aires, Argentina. Great webinar. So
Nice.
you guys
Buenos
are
Aires!
you're
Buenos
going
dias!
viral.
Yes.
So folks want to know at this point in their Instagram, they've had them for maybe years and years, and they want to fix their content. They're here obviously to learn. Should they go back through their past and delete things, or should they just start being better from now on?
Delete. Delete
Delete.
anything that is controversial, that, that shows you like, your party, this is past out of your party, things of that sort. Again, think about, if your goal is to think about middle America, and again, what, who your audience is. I mean, it depends. If you want to be a vice person, right, and that's your audience, and show off that side of you. But if you want to be someone that does like Food Network and Cooking Channel, things of that sort, their audience is middle America. So you have to kind of, curate,
Right.
curate your content.
What about from a restaurant perspective? Let's say the restaurant is now looking at hiring a social media manager, upping their game, and they've been doing their own all this time. Should they delete those old food photos, or should they keep that past content?
Keep it. Yeah,
Keep it?
definitely.
Excellent. And then the next question people have is, how do you go about finding an agent? And how do you know if you have a good one?
That's all Monty.
Monty.
I have a great agent. I actually, when I finished my Master Chef run, I got approached by someone from the O Network who was friends with my agent, Babette Perry. And she was with a different company at that time, but now she's with Innovative, and we started a relationship. And she didn't represent me for a couple of years, but I just continued working and hustling. And I actually ended up doing my work with Food Network before I even was signed to her agency, So you just gotta work and research, and put yourself out there, and people will come to you. That's been my experience. But if you want to do some heavy duty like lifting, then definitely research. Google is your best friend, and you can research who your favorite personalities that you connect with the most are represented by. Obviously, don't approach their agencies because they already have somebody that fits that space,
Right.
But search the agency, who their main competitors are, who reps them. That's all stuff that you can do in just a few hours of time to figure out who you want to be repped by. I also have a manager, and I've gone through a couple of managers in the last few years, but managers are great, not necessarily for finding you work, but for guiding your career, So I had somebody offer me a book deal in November, and I wanted to jump on it because I'm like, let's do it, I can do everything, let's do it. But he was like, no, slow your roll. This is not a good deal. They're not going to market the book, and you want your first book to be something that sells. That way you can get that second book deal. So he guided me through that.
Yeah. So again, it's something, it really does come down to you as the personality, though, to be forging those connections, to be likable, to be talking to folks around you. And the agent doesn't just show up with a whole list of auditions for you to go to every day. You're sort of looking for that your own, but they do sort of manage the business side of things, maybe help negotiate contracts as you've grown in your career, all that
That's
kind of
nice.
stuff.
Yeah,
Matt's like, yeah, I'm out there hustling alone. But Matt, you just got a new gig with, is it Spiceology?
It is. I'm very stoked about that. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, at this point in your career, what you're doing to get gigs.
To get gigs, it's a mix of everything. They'll reach out to me a lot of the time, and also I'll reach out to them if I'm really interested in a brand. I'll reach out to them if I want to work with them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it'll just be like coming in through my email, and I'll just respond yes or no, and then they'll ask for a rate. Usually, if it's like a really big brand, they'll ask for a rate sheet to where I'll just say no, because I don't really do all that stuff. But yeah, it all just comes down to you and finding your own, just you got to negotiate. That's it. You get what you negotiate. So that's why I usually will jump on the phone with the brand and talk about what it is that I can do to better them. Like, you got to ask what is their goal for the year, because you don't really know where to work from if you don't have their goal. Just like you're saying, you need a framework. So yeah, usually I'll just go ahead and talk to the brand on my own, and that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. But understanding like what your ingredient cost will be, what your time is worth, what your reach is worth, that's all important
exactly.
stuff that you guys
You
figure out.
throw that all in there. Yep.
Yep. And then do you have like a reel or something that you point them to that shows like, hey, working with me looks like this? Do you have like a little one sheeter or something that you send out? I'm
Nope.
sure Monty does because she's very, very prepared.
None of that.
None
I'm
of that.
I'll
so
Not
just
excited.
say here,
I
here's
was
my
actually
number.
helping
Give me a
Matt
call.
make a resume last night.
Oh my gosh.
good.
Last night. Yeah, that was funny.
I'm so psycho about that stuff. I'm like, you have to have a calling card, you know, you have to be ready. So, I mean, you can always rely on your social media pages. People will check out your social media, but you should have something that is easily consumable that someone can drop in a meeting with decision makers and say, okay, in 60 seconds, here's this person that I think we should be working with, you know?
Let's see what other questions we have. Oh, we have something about when you're building your following. So we have one chef here who has built a following all the way up to 5K organically, but feels very stuck there and hasn't been able to sort of move the needle since then.
What's the chef's handle?
What's your handle, Hope?
Hope?
Yeah, we'll wait for Emily's feeding me the question. So if Hope is still on, we're answering your question. You just got 3 more followers.
Hey.
But what can we do to what can she do to get over the 5K hump?
Well, I mean, make a content plan. You know, you really got to plan it out. Figure out who you want to be, like what your voice is. Figure out what kind of content you want to put out there. Do you want to stick to just 1-minute videos that you can repurpose on TikTok and on your Instagram grid and on Facebook? YouTube, obviously, you're going to want to have something that it has a little more depth to it. You know, between 4.5 minutes is usually what works best on YouTube. But figure out what it is you want to do. Write a crazy amount of content, shoot it, edit it. You have to be a one-person army, you know, and then start putting it out there. Figure out who your audience is, when they're actually tuning in. You can look in your analytics, see what are the best times of the day and what are the best days of the week to drop content, because you don't want to work so hard at developing content and then you drop it, you know, at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday and nobody's there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to see the handle so bad because I want to see if Hope's responding to all the comments, because it's all about being social too. Yes. Responding to everybody that's liking your stuff or commenting. Like me, I will send 300 to 400 messages a day of people that are just responding. So you gotta be social, you know, that's another thing.
All right, everyone. Point. The handle is at I Crave Philly. 2-minute videos highlighting Philly and the world's happening food scene.
I crave
there you go,
Philly.
Hope. We've got a couple hundred people listening right now. Go follow I
that's
Crave
cool.
Philly.
I mean, she already has like her
complete
on there. Like, yeah, I don't even have that. You already know what it's about. That's a really nice page.
You, Hope.
It's a beautiful page.
Here
Look
she
at that
is.
red. Ah.
What I would say is create more call to action on your posts. That's what it looks like you need as well.
Call to action. Tell me a little bit about what that means.
Yeah, like for example, like this picture that just says channeling my Nana. Like, yeah, that's really cute and sweet, but maybe put on there like, anyone out here a fan of walnuts or something like that. You know, just ask a question so you can get some more engagement on that post, and then you can start conversation. Yep, you got to hook them, just like everything. Yep.
Yeah, it's not enough to just post great content. You have to go in and follow different chefs that you like their stuff, comment back on your followers, comment on the comments, heart things.
Exactly. Like I see some people posting a picture and they'll just put like an emoji in the description. It's just like all that wasted space. I mean, unless you're like Kanye West or something, sure, go ahead. But yeah.
Yes. How long did it take for your brands to take off? Maybe Matt, start. How long from when you decided that you were going to start cooking for content did it take to build a following?
Still never. Still doing it. You just gotta keep doing it. That's it. I mean, I've been doing it for what, 6-7 years now, something like that.
Just keeps growing.
Consistency. And if Instagram were to die tomorrow, then, you know, just keep going on the next thing, you know.
Try the next step. And Monty, folks are asking, what do you use as like your 60-second calling card? Is it a video? Is it just your handles? Like, what do you use for pictures?
I have a reel
You have
that
a
I put
reel.
together that has, some of the, I'm a complete goof off. That's, that's what I've done my whole, I can't change that. That's just who I am. So I have a reel that is just me saying snarky, funny things, and it's 60 seconds long. And that's what I use as a calling card. It's on
Nice.
YouTube, and I update it every few months just so it has, current content. And if you don't have, TV show video to work with, that's perfectly fine. Fake it till you make it, man.
Right.
I had
Can you help me make a reel?
Dude, you have so much content. Of course, you can totally make a reel. You've got so much content. You can
People
totally.
are asking who's Monty's agent, and I'm just going to go with Monty is now Matt's agent. And so you guys
Right.
enter your request.
Seriously.
My agent is Shabbat Perry.
Another question folks have is about losing followers. They'll gain 10 and then they'll lose 10, and they seem to sort of fluctuate. That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ebb and flow.
It doesn't have to do with me. They're not necessarily doing anything offensive or whatever. It's just how it works.
I mean, unless you're
you
starting to see like 1,000 drop, I'm sure.
If you leave a glass of water out, it's going to evaporate. You got to keep filling that glass.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Wow.
Waking up, you guys. Waking up.
I love that. I love that. Do you create linked accounts on Instagram? Like, do you have sister accounts that you link, or do you tend to sort of, if you're talking about sourdough today, we're talking about it on all channels, or do you talk about something different on each channel in a single time?
It depends. I don't. It really depends. It depends on the content. Obviously, the content. It's all about content, and that's where you should start in the very, like, what is your audience on Facebook? For me, it's a very different audience than the audience I have on Instagram. So people on Instagram aren't going to react to a commercial about everything food as much as people on LinkedIn will react to a commercial about everything food. So you just got to know.
So like when you're creating content, do you think about using it on every platform? Like for me, one YouTube video will be great for all the platforms because I can take really nice beauty shot photos for Instagram. Then I could do a shorty on TikTok out of that video. I could do Instagram stories, Facebook, all that stuff. It's like the umbrella effect. I think that's what you call it. Yeah, umbrella platform. Yeah, that's what I usually think about, is using one piece of content for all.
Great.
Get more out of it.
And then someone is asking, Matt, is having an Amazon shop worth it? Do you actually generate money, or is it just to help you get followers?
It's worth it if you push it. I mean, I don't push it at all, and it gives me like maybe 10, 20 bucks a month. That's with me doing nothing. It's literally just on my Instagram or my YouTube videos.
Might as well.
I mean, I have some friends, like my friend Byron. He posts on every YouTube video, like he really pushes it, and that guy makes like maybe 800 a month off of Amazon. So I mean, it all depends on like how you push. Yeah, and like if you're gonna create, say,
manager.
if you create a knife video and you're like, I'm gonna sell you this knife, go check it out in the description down below. You're gonna get a lot of clicks, and there you go. You're gonna make the sale. So I think it's like 20%, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a great use.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the other questions will be answered in the extremely detailed document that Monty put together for y'all, which is absolutely wonderful. It talks about equipment, talks about what she uses, all different kinds of things. So we're going to send that out to y'all, so y'all have that. Last question is, what do you guys think of Patreon? Is that something that you use?
I use it.
Yeah, does it work good?
I don't use it. What's interesting is I just became aware of Patreon yesterday when I was trying to figure out if I should buy something for YouTube to help me figure out how to grow my audience on YouTube. What is it?
Patreon is a platform for your audience to support you if they choose to. You can sort of create different levels of support, as in like $5, $10, $12. And on each level, you'll put like an award or something that you'll give them in exchange for it. Or it can be like just $5, thanks for supporting me, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much it. Just like anything else though, you got to push it because nobody knows about it. So once you become aware of it, then they can help you out. Yeah. It's a pretty
Fantastic.
cool platform. I get like $50 a month from it just from people that support me.
That's
People
great.
send you money.
Some food costs. Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
I include them on my end credits of every video. So every YouTube video, I have credits at the end and it will have their name, like my supporters. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know, right? I mean, people are trying to show up for folks in every which way now, so it's worth giving it a try. And like you said, if it's passive like that, it's if people want to participate, they do, and maybe $20 here, $50 there, it does make a difference, especially when you're getting things sort of rolling.
Yep.
So that concludes our time. I hope that we answered everybody's questions. I want to say thank you so much to Matt and Monty for being here. It was an awesome conversation that went way too quickly. We have so much more information to cover. And what we'll do is we had a Facebook intensive that covered a little bit of Instagram and the business tools that are available. So what we'll do is when we send the recording of this and we send Monty's sheet, we'll also send the Facebook presentation, which has basically like Facebook has a school and Instagram has a school, and you can go through there and learn for free all kinds of fun tips and tricks about Instagram. And that should help you guys with getting started. Everythingfood.com, check it out.
Yeah.
At a cook named Matt, at the Monti Carlo.
Message me if you have any questions on this as well. Like if any chef out there has questions, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. I'll answer.
Slide in those DMs.
Yeah.
And if you have any more questions about what's going on with the relief packages and stimulus and all the crazy shit that's happening out there, we are updating at jamesbeard.org/relief 2-3, sometimes 5 times a day. That's the best place to get the most up-to-date information that is specific to the restaurant industry. So we try to keep it really pointed, so it's only the things that matter to you guys. We'll continue these webinars for the next while, at least the next month, I guess. We have some really fun ones coming up. We have Culinary Cannabis 101 coming up on 420. We have more next week with a cookbook authoring, and we have more with social media, more on the stimulus package. So check out jamesbeard.org/relief to get more on those webinars. We hope that you'll join us next week. Thank you again, Monty and Matt. I will see you guys very soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.